A very warm welcome to the programme, and we begin in Turkey, where the government has said the person who left a bomb that exploded on a busy Istanbul street on Sunday has been arrested. At least 6 people were killed and more than 80 others injured. The blast happened in the centre of the city. The Turkish government says the incident was thought to be an act of terrorism. Turkey's President Erdogan has condemned it as a vile attack. Our senior international correspondent Ola Girin reports from Istanbul.
Sunday afternoon, shoppers running for their lives. This was Istiklal Street, right after the blast. It's the very heart of Istanbul. As the casualties were rushed away, Turkey's president was offering his condolences and saying it appeared to be a terrorist attack. Initial developments and initial intelligence from the governor are that it smells like terrorism, said Recep Tayyip Erdogan, adding the culprits would be punished. Turkey's Justice Ministry now says the bomber was a woman who had sat on a bench in the area for 40 minutes before the blast. It was the first major bomb attack in Istanbul in years. Hayat told us she was in an internet cafe on Istiklal and rushed out to see dead and injured. What I saw was a pram, she said. I saw wounded people running around. There was a woman running, carrying her dog. It was a frenzy. As night fell, the shadow of an old fear. This city has been bombed in the past by both Kurdish separatists and Islamist militants. People here wondering, are we back to that? Orla Girin, BBC News, Istanbul.
Well, we can now speak to Shona Bhattacharya, who's a Turkey correspondent for France 24. Shona, thanks so much for being on the programme. Can you tell us any more about the latest on this arrest?
Well, we have not. We don't have information on the identity of the person who has been arrested. We don't even know if it is a woman, the way as the Interior Minister or President Erdogan had claimed that the suspect was. They are saying, however, that this is the person who was responsible for the bombing, and that can be seen on the CCTV images, and therefore we can suspect that it is the woman that we see. We'll obviously have more information on that as the day goes on. But we do not have any kind of claims of responsibility for the attack, even though it was Sunday afternoon, about 4:20 afternoon local time that the attack took place. Still no claims of responsibility either.
And in terms of the impact this will have, on the city of Istanbul, which, as we were just hearing from our correspondent Ola Girin there, this wasn't commonplace, but it did happen some years ago, and now the fear factor is back?
Yeah, well, the situation in Istanbul is a mega city. It is a huge city, officially of 16 million. Most people say it's about 20 million people. And Istiklal is one of the busiest parts of that city. It is a long street, about 2 kilometers long, where thousands of people, literally thousands of people, walk every day. I actually used to live right next to it. So I know how crowded it was every single day of the week, and especially on weekends, especially on a Sunday afternoon where people are strolling down. The mood of the city is one of resignation, not much of surprise, actually. A lot of people in Turkey fearing violence with the election coming up next year. This is something that we've seen before in Turkey, and also the fact that these crowded places would be bombed either, as Oleg said in her report, by Islamist militants or people believed to belong to the PKK. These are things that Turkey has seen before, not only Istanbul, but other parts of the country as well.
President Erdogan is keen to be seen in control in this situation. He wants to crack down on any dissension, doesn't he?
Well, control. Let's talk about control. So since the bombing took place yesterday afternoon, the government has had a three-pronged approach to crack down on the dissemination of information. So first of all, the sharing of information of videos, for example, has been banned by the government, and unless they're coming from official sources. The second thing that the government did is that the broadcasting, the radio and television regulating agency has severely cut down the internet bandwidth of social media sites like Twitter or YouTube. Turks last night were telling me that they couldn't go on to these websites, which are the main sources of information for them in the event of an attack like this one. And the government has also started cracking down on accounts and on social media users. About 25 accounts have been suspended and are being investigated for sharing information, videos about the attack. This comes in the wake of a disinformation law that was passed in Turkey's parliament just a few weeks ago, and that gives up to 1.5 years in jail for the dissemination of "quote unquote" fake news. That, of course, is depends on who you ask. But if journalists have been targeted for years now in Turkey, now it's really everyday social media users that are also being targeted with this new law, and we're seeing it being applied in real time here in Istanbul.
Shona, thank you for that background and perspective. We appreciate it. Shona Bhattacharya, thank you, the correspondent for France 24, based in Istanbul.